So I watch a lot of the black content. I listen to the podcasts. I watch a lot of the hip hop stuff. I watch videos more of people that I don't agree with than I do. Like that's just how I've always been. That's how you learn. That sharpen your arguments, and you actually get to hear what other people's opinions are, or whatever. But I can only do it to so much, where I'll be like, yo, I can't listen to this shit no more. And it's just like only if a certain topic is up, I'll go be nosy, or if a certain person's being interviewed. But it's like listening to black content is almost like an extension of whatever the Democrats say, and it's mind boggling. But we gonna get into that bag. We gonna get into this conversation that was on State of the Culture with Remy Ma versus the millennial fuckity fuck dude who's arguing for gun control. We're gonna talk about that real quick. So they're having a discussion about what happened in New Zealand with the mosque and the shooter. We're hearing conversations about guns and gun control from people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about again. And they're changing the word magazine and clip and saying semi-automatic as if 90% of guns aren't also semi-automatic. Like, what are you talking about? That part is just crazy and, ridiculous that, that goes unchecked. But also, we got to deal with this reality that it's not a good look that you have a black man on some anti-gun shit. I support what they did in New Zealand, how they banned the guns, ignoring the fact that we have a Second Amendment in the Constitution, which they do not. There are only three other state countries that actually have the right to bear arms left: America and two more. So it's like you can't even put that into context. You're saying, "Oh, I like how swiftly they move." Like we have a way to get that done. You need so many people in the Congress. You need the vice president, the president. Like there's a way to do that if you want to do that. We have that set up in our system, right? So to ignore all that and to just say, "Oh, I love how swiftly they moved and they got rid of the guns over one dickhead," despite ignoring the fact that the magazines that he actually used didn't have 100 rounds, but they were illegal. He got them from traveling and going to other countries. He smuggled them in. He broke the law to get those, right? But your community's in a bad shape when you have a black woman, Remy Ma, who comes from the hip hop era. I get it. She comes from the gutter, where he doesn't. He comes from, Morehouse, middle class black family, whatever. But that still shouldn't, remove the mindset or the reality of you being a black man and you live in communities that are over policed and they don't come when there's a crime. You need their help. When you live in environments where undesirable Negroes are terrorizing the community, you can't say, "Oh, get rid of all these guns," but then ignore all that and ignore that we are the ones that are going to be hurt the most by those laws. Like I don't get that. And they try to go on and you can watch the full clip of the whole conversation, but they try to say, well, if you do have a gun and you shoot, you're going to go to jail. Like, well, if we're getting shot anyways, if we're getting killed anyways, what do we have to lose? Like, I hate when we have these conversations, they act as if no black person ever been benefited from standing your ground, or a black ex cop had some cops come in his house, which they came in improperly, and he shot him and killed him, and he got off because they broke the law. So like every case isn't the same, every state isn't the same, and we got to stop talking like that. We'll pick the handful of cases that we see on TV, which is what that lady was doing in Arkansas. Because I'm looking at the data, I'm like, where's the data? Where's the information? I keep asking that question of why she's against staying around, but she wasn't basing it off of something that happened in her city, her state. She was basing off the few that she's seen on the news. So you're gonna throw out a whole bill and a whole situation because of what you fear. We don't make laws based on your fear. We make laws based on the law and precedent, not based on how you feel. But everybody's on her bandwagon and saying, I just see how many women saying, yeah, and she told him. And like, she didn't really tell him anything. Like, okay, make the argument you don't think that the law is applied to all people fairly. The application of the law is wrong. But don't just say, let's get rid of this. Because, again, you're a black woman in a state where you're the only black representation and you feel some type of way because you live in an open carry state. Another sister who wrote an interview, same situation. She's in Vermont, only black woman, doing all types of other shit. Nonetheless, she's pushing gun control measures, being the only black person in the assembly. And you think there's not going to be repercussions for that? And you're in a state that folks run to keep their guns, a state that people run to get away from New York, to get away from Colorado. I mean, not Colorado, Massachusetts, New Jersey. People go to Maine for that, for the outdoor shit and all that too. But they go there because they got pretty cool gun laws. Which doesn't make any sense how Bernie Sanders was a part of the whole gun ban shit, but his state is pretty lax on guns. I have friends that moved from New York there that within 6 weeks they got their pistol permit and had like 5 pistols because that's how lax the guns laws is, whatever. And then you want to come in as a black Democrat and you want to change that. Like, come on. But it's not a good look when you have a black woman having to tell a black man why it's important and how these laws are going to affect us. Like, that's just not a good look. That's the L we take. Like, that's just not cool. Anyways, I don't know. That's pretty much all I really had to say. It's just not a good look having Remy Ma have to tell this dude, you know, and he said stuff before that I wanted to do video response to, but it's like when you don't know what you're talking about guns and you're ignoring the fact that we have a Constitution, the Second Amendment, which is rare, it just doesn't make sense for a black man who comes from a former slave class to be co-signed. If he is ADOS, I don't know. The more you study and the more you look at these things, you realize a lot of folks ain't. I don't even think Remy Ma is. I know Scotty Beam is from some other place. A question, I don't know. It's like she's not ADOS either. So who knows? I could be wrong. He not, like a lot of these folks you see on TV and the news. They not even first generations. They parents come from other places or they half Caribbean, half black, or whatever. And Joe Budden he did his DNA test and of course he's ADOS, but he found out he got a lot of white in him too. He ain't express it, but he got some white in him. But we all be caught up in this stuff thinking these people are black on TV, and then you find out a lot of these folks is not ADOS. They black, but they not. They first generation, and their ancestors don't come from where we come from. So maybe that's why they feel the way they feel about some of these issues too. And they be at the forefront pushing this anti-gun shit, and they come from countries where they don't have the right to bear arms, or their family comes from countries that they don't have the right to bear arms either. So that could be a thing too. I don't know. But it's a sad day, a sad reality when the black man is arguing or debating the black woman on why we should get rid of guns and get rid of the stuff. And she's like, no. We going to be hurt by this more. It's going to affect us more. We going to be more victims in these situations. That's definitely not a good look to have that situation play out like that. It is what it is, though. I'm out. I think I got another video coming about guns. How I've been saying for a while that this whole situation with, these states that legalize marijuana, they're giving you your marijuana card, but if you take the legal marijuana, you gotta forfeit your guns. And people are saying that's not gonna happen, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, in New York, they took out legal marijuana for the budget because they said they couldn't do it, but someone said we're gonna put it back in. And they're putting it back in for the same thing. They're saying you're going to have to forfeit that shit. I said that was going to happen in all these little fuckity-fuck anti-gun states. And my state is going to say, okay, cool. You want to smoke weed, you got to forfeit your guns. And I'm saddened that I know a lot of Negroes, a lot of black men are going to fall for that. And it's not that they're going to give up their guns. The problem is they're going to keep their guns and they're going to keep the weed. And when they get pulled over, they're the ones that the law is going to be forced upon. Because it's like, if you do this, they're not going to know unless... Right? They got to enforce the law, but I guarantee you, out of all different counties and whatnot, our county, they're going to enforce it. When you get pulled over and you got the weed in your car, then they say, oh, you got a gun too, even though it's a legal carry arm, I guarantee you're the one that they're going to go file and check and make sure and see what's going on. But that's a whole different video. But I'm out. It's a state of the culture conversation about the New Zealand situation and Remy Ma. Ironically, I can't even admit this. Scotty Beam is trash. Same fuckity fuck, grapevine bullshit, feminist nonsense, right? The dude is the same thing. He's the male version of Scotty Beam and the pro, LBGT, feminist fuckity fuck shit. Remy Ma, to my surprise, has been one I've agreed with more than anybody on the show. Because she did some weird shit too, where she was on some feminist, anti-male shit, right? When she was beefing with Nicki, she did some expose commercial that was trash. And I'm thinking she's going to be on that. But on the show, she's taking heat for some of her opinions from the feminists and whatnot, too. And I get it. But I've agreed with her on this show more than anybody on the show, which I didn't think I would. I'm really not a fan of her either. But it's oddly enough, the person you think that is going to be fake and PC or whatever, or be something that she's not really trying to co-sign stuff, she's really been a voice of reason. She's really been talking for the people on some of these situations, or brings a nuance viewpoint to the conversation that you don't really see in these liberal fuckity fuck millennial spaces. But that's just my video, my rant. I'm done. State of the culture, another trash liberal leaning show like the rest of them, and we can't have black men going on TV being anti-gun, arguing with chicks about how, I disagree. We should get rid of all of those shits. Like, no, come on, my guy. It's not a good look.
And address the bigger matter at hand, which is the fear white supremacists have against black people and people of color.
Man, it's heavy.
It's a lot.
When you see this, it's like 90 people, all in all, maybe more. That many people die in a clip. Yeah, like, there's no case for semi-automatic, automatic weapons on streets. There's no argument for it. I'll sit across from anybody. There's no argument that you can justify that in any place where people reside. And, you're talking about trying to fix hate. I don't know. That's a big issue. I don't even know if that's a lifestyle. That's something that we've had.
It's possible.
Right? So, like, when that happens, I think you need to start removing the things that allow people to create mass chaos if they have those things in their heart, Like, you might hate me, but get off my lawn. Okay. There's a whole difference when you hate me and you can pull an automatic or semi-automatic weapon and street sweep an entire mosque. Like, I think the fact that they moved this swiftly, that's the example right there. It shouldn't even happen. But when things like this happen, like, you can't fix hate. That's a very real thing, right? Like, maybe you can work on it, but you can't fix it. Guns, you can take those off the street.
But you can profit off of hate.
Yeah, you can. And that's what America's done for a very long time. And
that's why they won't make any changes either.
They're not the first nation to
ban.
Yeah, to create this type of ban. And, we talk about ourselves as the leaders of the free world. We very clearly are not. And you could say that, but when you look at other nations, you can see it. It's terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
They're banning semi-automatic guns, but, people still can have access to firearms. Mm-hmm. You can still, cause mass destruction and a lot of lives with a gun that's not semi-automatic.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, in conjunction with the banning...
I ain't gonna say mass without the semi. You're gonna get 6 shots.
But lives are still
And
lost.
then you reload, and not even that. You can get more than 6.
I think about it in steps. It's like when people start hearing about gun bans, everyone, the NRA, the people that are gun advocates, they start mobilizing and talking about like it's the 1800s and you're taking away our rights. So to me, it's like, unfortunately, we have to take things in scale. I think this was a sweeping move, but they didn't say there's no guns.
No,
they
but
said
these
we have
rights
to get rid
are
of...
only for certain people. Like,
yeah.
I'm a strong believer in, like, it's not just about banning guns because people are still going to find a way to get guns. And they're going to make it so hard that certain people can't get them, or it's going to be difficult for you to get them. Mostly people of color who've probably somewhere in their teens or before they were even adults got some type of infraction or you live in an inner city or whatever the case may be, they're making it more difficult for people of color to get guns. But I feel that everyone should be able to have guns. If everybody had a gun, people would think differently.
I don't.
About, listen, let me tell you why. Listen to me, because I've had this argument before with people. If you knew, like, you look at these school shootings or these shootings that happen at places like churches and mosques, if you knew that 9 times out of 10, everybody in there would have a firearm, or you walk into a school, the security has one, the teacher might have one, you're going to think different because you're possibly going to lose your life too. You don't have too many of the ones that shoot something up and then kill themselves. They go shoot something up and then they sit in jail. They walk them out. They never get killed. They get walked out nicely in handcuffs and sit away. And we hear about their trial 5 years later and things of that nature. But I just feel like when you know that I'm probably going to hear, and these people are going to be unsuspecting. None of them are going to expect it. Most of them, if not all of them, are going to be unarmed. The odds are stacked in someone who wants to do some fuck shit favor. Just think of all of the young black men that have been shot and killed by not just police officers, but like the asshole down in Florida that we don't even talk about his name, or just any of them, had they been able to legally have a gun or firearm on them, just to shoot back.
or to get somebody off of them,
Yeah,
or just to be
dude.
like, listen, I'm armed too.
Orlando
Maybe some of
dude
these
or
lives.
Tampa dude.
If they did